Okay, I'm starting this new video today. It's a really quick one. It's installing FreeBSD 14.4 in Virtualbox. Now, my platform that I'm running on is actually a Windows 11 laptop. It's an i7. It's got 32 gig of RAM. It's got a SSD, all that good stuff. It is older. I think it's a 8th gen Intel, but it still works really well. I've already replaced the whole case because the case got damaged really badly, but now so I just keep using it. It's great. It's a Lenovo. I'm pushing that Chinese made. Okay, so here are the supported releases. Currently 15.0 has been released. I have installed that. I'm not particularly happy with the installation method. I don't like it having to go to the internet to download anything when it's installing. 14.4 will still use the old BSD install method. I'm currently in production 15, 14.4, and still 14.3. The 13.5 has been turned into legacy, and today being Friday the 13th, March, it actually becomes end of life at the end of this month. So almost, well, yes, every server that I maintain has already been upgraded to 14.4. And we've got an upcoming 15.1. I don't think it's, in my past experience, it's always better to wait till a 0.1 before you actually move that into production. That's me. That's my opinion. You know, take it for what it's worth, and that's not really much. But so here, let's download FreeBSD. Well, let's download 14.4. Let's see if that takes us to the. Here's the release announcement. It's available now, blah, blah, blah. These are the different types. I usually get the DVD 1. Okay, so here is 14.4 release may be downloaded via HTTPS. Let's go there. There we go. So we don't want the release candidate, and we don't want the checksum. So let's go down till we find FreeBSD 14.4 release, and we want the 64-bit, and we'll get the compressed XZ. I'm downloading this on a Windows, and I have 7-zip, which will extract this ISO. And if you don't have if you just want to download the ISO directly, well, you can see there's 400 mega difference in size. So I get the disk 1 ISO, and I get the XZ. Okay, I've already downloaded that, so I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to go to my Virtualbox, and I'm going to create a new machine. And I'll call it FBSD 14.4. And it is BSD type, and it is 64-bit. And so next, this will give some resources. Since I do have 32, I just like to give it a good 4 gig of memory. And I do have an 8-core physical core CPU, so I like to give it half of that 4. Now the next is creating the virtual disk. The default size is 16 gigabyte, which I think is okay. So I just use that. And we're basically finished creating the machine. Now that we have the machine created, let's go up here and do the settings. Okay, these are very important, but very logical. Well, we did the general. System, I've got the memory, I've got the CPUs here. I don't have a floppy. I'm going to put that down at the bottom. And then what I do is I enable the hard disk and optical both, but I put the hard disk first. Now there's a logic to this, and I'll explain it as I move along here. The display, I don't touch anything. On the storage, there's a CD here, and I need to mount the 14.4 ISO. So let me go here and choose a disk file. Please choose a virtual disk, and there is the 14.4 release disk 1 ISO. So let's open that, and that is now mounted as the CD. Okay, audio, I don't need any audio in this virtual machine. Networking, what I always like to do, instead of using NAT, I like to use bridged adapter. So what this will do is this will take my gigabit interface and connect directly to that and get its own IP from my LAN's DHCP server. So there's no network address translation, NAT. The serial ports, just leave, and the USB, just enable, that's okay. So basically we've got everything done here, and we're ready to start our virtual machine. So I'll click Start. It will power up the VM. And I like to change the view here to scaled mode. And right now I'm at the FreeBSD boot, and that's starting to boot. And it's starting to boot from the CD because it found nothing on the hard disk, even though the hard disk is first. So that's the key, the logic. Now I don't have to go back in and change anything after booting up. Okay, this is a FreeBSD installer. So I just hit enter. Continue with the default key map because I have a US ASCII keyboard. And I'm going to give this my FBSD 144.local machine name. Use the arrow key and space to deselect. I don't need kernel debugging. I don't need 32-bit library support. I'm not going to install ports, but I will install source. Hit enter. This is a virtual machine. I won't use ZFS. If you have an actual hardware machine you're installing FreeBSD, then highly recommend installing ZFS file system, even you only have one disk. But if you have 2 disks, you can do mirror. If you have 3 or more, you can do actual RAID. So I'm going to use UFS, but I'm going to use the entire disk, and I'm going to use a GPT partitioning table. So you can see there's my 16 gigabyte drive, and I'm just going to hit finish. And now it will actually do the writing. Okay, so it's creating the file system, and now it's going to extract the base, the kernel, and the source. And this is the reason that maybe there's a way I can do this in 15, and I haven't discovered it yet. But the 3 or 4 times that I've installed 15.0, these have been downloading. And that means you're actually got to connect to your network before you can even do, get the installation working. So the base system is actually the biggest, and that's finished. The kernel, this will download very quickly. And then the source is also not quite as fast, but it's all text. So this is the source tree if you want to recompile the OS from source. I think it's helpful to have that in case you need to do some type of recovery. And the source will be updated if you do any FreeBSD update. So, like I said, actually, I guess the source is actually bigger than the base. So that's the other thing too. If you want to save disk, if you're doing, you have a smaller system, or maybe this is some type of almost embedded system, you can forget about installing the source. Okay, so this part, like I said, is doing the extraction. And after the extraction, it will do the copying. And then the first thing is to enter our root password. And then we're going to configure our network interface. I would like to use DHCP to configure, so I'll just yes and yes. I don't want IPv6, and everything's okay here, so we'll just go on. I am located in Asia, Taiwan. And CST, skip. Okay, now, system configuration. SSHD, a must. Mouse D, okay. NTP and sync on start. Power D, don't ever use that in a virtual machine. And I don't need to dump. Okay, next, hardening. Now you can do all of these if you want, but for me, on just a test platform, I will like to clear my temp file system on startup. And I don't need to have any syslog. And I can disable the dtrace. So that's it for that. This is something new in the later 14 version, some firmware, maybe this is for some server, something. You need to add an initial account. So I'm Steve. That's my username, my full name. And here just enter. Now, here's where it's really important. You enter wheel and operator. You could also enter video if you plan on installing a GUI desktop, but since it's a virtual machine and it's really just a test platform for being a web server or anything like that, then I don't need video. Enter. Okay, now my password for my user, Steve. Okay, yes. Another, no. And everything's already been done. I've already added a user. But if you wanted to change anything that you did, you want to go back, that's all here. You could go back. But I'm going to exit, apply the configuration, and I don't need to... Well, okay, I will. I'm going to edit the startup script, which is etc.rc.conf. And where I had mouse enabled, okay, I'm using VI, so XXX will delete it. I insert, no. Escape, right quit. And we're done. Reboot. Okay, so this will be the very first boot up, and since my hard drive was first in the list, it will boot now from that newly installed hard drive. And I'll just let it count down. You can hit enter to bypass. Now the only thing that's different on the very first startup is it will generate the SSH keys. And you'll see that as almost the very last thing that comes up. I can see here my IP is 14. And there you see generating an RSA host key and a ED25519 host key. Those will only be done on the initial startup. And I can log in with my root and credentials, and we can check with a uname -a and see that we are 14.4 release. We can also now check to see if there are any updates. But first thing is, let's make sure that we have an internet connection, which we do. Control C to exit. Let's see if DNS is working. So we'll ping, let's ping Google. Okay, DNS is working. So let's do FreeBSD-update, and we'll do a fetch install. See if there's anything there. If there's nothing, it will Wow, what's going on? Seems to be some problem. Okay, let's do that again. FreeBSD update fetch install. That's a good one. It's not working. Let's see if, okay, well that works. Let's see if package can install. Yeah, okay. So I'm able to get the package. Let's try one more time. FreeBSD update. Oh, okay, there it goes. And it says there's no updates needed for this system for 14.4 release patch 0. Okay, so there you have it. I've got a working system. I mean, I can really go really crazy if I want to. You see here, I'm in the root folder, and I'm going to this is my website, FAMP2PC, and I'm going to grab FAMP GZ. There we got it, and I'm going to extract it. Extract file. And I'm going to run FAMP shell. Okay. Now what this script does is it will install the Apache web server, PHP, you can choose your version, and MySQL database server. So I'm not going to do that in this video, but you saw what I did, and if you really are curious about that, I have other scripts on my FAMP2PC website for installing WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, OSCommerce. Actually, all of them are in one easy to download. It's called ICMS.gz. That's install the CMS. And then once I've got that down, you can, again, because it's a GZ file, you need to extract it. XF extract file ICMS. And then to run a program, you can see it's already there and it's executable by root only. /ICMS shell. And here is my script for running. This is a new version, 14.4, so my OS version is 14.4, continue anyway. It'll give me a little warning that the script hasn't been tested, but I'm pretty sure it will work anyway, so yes. This is my quick look at my system. Okay, this is my FAMP CMS shell. My virtual machine does not have a fully qualified domain name, so I'm going to use I for IP address. I can choose my MySQL version. I'm going to choose 80. Yes, I'm going to make a password for MySQL root user. I'll just use root because it's only for test. And I'm going to use 8.4, which is kind of in the middle. 83 is still supported. 85 is the newest. 84 probably I would think is the most stable. And choose which CMS. So I could actually just get to a FAMP only with no CMS by choosing 0. Or if I want to install Drupal, Joomla, WordPress, or OSCommerce, let's say I want to install WordPress, probably one of the most popular content management platforms. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, now it's actually doing an installation, and I'm not going to go through all that. But as you can see, this script was just updated last month, but FreeBSD 14.4 is a brand new release. It just came out. So this is my kind of hopefully informative video, especially for those people that they want to, experiment with OS on a Virtualbox, or you need a development platform. You're working on a website or whatever, and you want to do it on your laptop. Yeah, I'm sure you could use WAMP or any of those other, but this actually, you're running an actual server. So that's it. And of course, this was the 192.168.1. I remember it was 14. Okay, connect once. I can use my username to log in and my password. And then if I want to get to root, I use the SU space dash, enter the root password, and there I am. And we can see what's running. Use the top Q to escape. So that's it. I'm pretty much finished. I went back to the console. You can see where I SU to root. It'll show Apache's already been installed. Apache's initialized, started. So technically, I could open a web and get to my and it works. So that's Apache's already working. Okay, and that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.